What happens when you get three of the most uninteresting, out of their prime frat dudes in a room? They make a podcast. And like all other alpha podcasts, they focus on shitting on women. But this time, the unique selling point of this alpha podcast is all three of them rolled a 0 in the charisma stat. Between the three of them, they can very rarely form a complete sentence. It's like a game of fucking Mad Libs because they can't help but keep interrupting each other. And the one time they brought on a female guest, I think she maybe got 3 words out before they kept like dogpiling on every single breath she took. It is an outstanding disaster of insecurity. It's also adorable how hard they all try to appear as like this peak sigma alpha masculine specimen. This is a podcast I'm sure none of you have heard of. I only found it because a YouTuber named Chad recently made a great video on it, and I knew I had to dive into it and watch more of their content. On TikTok, they're a bit of a laughingstock. They're just a fucking punching bag for most people to insult for good reason, obviously. So I wanted to watch more than just like their best moments montages where it's like, women cheat more than men, those bitches. Like I wanted to watch like the actual full context and full episodes. They have 3 right now. But it was so hard to watch them because every time they try and speak, it's like a kid who gets called on in middle school to stand up and read in front of the class and they're nervous. They just drone on and on, getting lost in their own sauce, forgetting what they were even talking about. They just keep fumbling over words and they just keep placing new filler words in there and it makes no fucking sense. It's like, I have no mouth and I must scream some dumb shit, but they just can't do it. Let me show you.
Yeah, plus like too, when you're in that bracket of fucking really financial, I'm not, but one day I will be, when I'm in that bracket of like being fucking rich as fuck.
Right.
I feel like, especially like, I don't know, like a lot of dudes get played for their fucking money and
yeah, a lot.
And they look like fucking fools because after a while too, money can only get you so far with getting pussy and shit.
Well, it depends.
At the end, and it's true, and like they'll be like, "Oh, fuck him, I'm tired of him." The fucking housewife.
That bitch was plotting.
He was plotting from the jump.
It's funny because I was
that's
like,
her personal need.
Yeah, right.
Which I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
like,
fuck that.
why are you gonna use my money that I fucking made to do something?
Yeah.
If you want money, you ask for it, and I'll gladly give it to you.
Yeah,
Because I
especially
don't want
if
you sneaking money out
we're
the door.
financially fucking way better off than most.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, just don't like fucking. Yeah, I fucking agree.
But like,
This was from the timeless classic, Women Cheat More Than Men, their biggest episode and a real hit. I couldn't watch the whole thing because this is the whole thing. Stretch this kind of conversation across an hour and 15 minutes. It's impossible to sit through. It literally sounds like someone skipping through dialogue options in like a Fallout game. It sounds like you're just listening to William Shakespeare in Old English and none of it's making sense.
I want to know what your boyfriend brings to the table, or what you expect him to bring to the table. Or even any man. Not like, we don't even have to like focus on your guy. But just any what does a guy have to do?
Respectful.
Okay.
So looks don't play a role in the first part.
There you go. Just let her go.
Yeah, let it go.
Relax, buddy.
Let it go.
This was a really big moment for the podcast. They really went out of their comfort zone and brought a girl into the boys' club in order to get deeper insight into females. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to really speak that much because the crew didn't really like when she'd talk. So like right away they just ask, what do you want in a guy? And she says respectful. The fucking room goes silent and one dude's like, so looks don't matter then, huh? Like he gets so deeply offended off rip. All 3 of their minds were blown. She said respectful, and one guy just, his whole soul is crushed like, what about looks, huh? What about looks? Are you lying to me, you crazy fucking harpy, huh? You come onto my podcast, you old battle axe, and you're spreading fibs? No, respectful doesn't exist. Not even a real word, not a thing. Looks, that's all that matters. That's what I've read on the forums. Don't fucking lie to me again on my own show.
I say, if my wife lets herself go after I have kids with her, if I'm going to tell her once, if you don't get your shit together, I still want to be sexually attracted to my wife, my spouse. But if you
Even
can't
girlfriends.
do that, girlfriend too, if you can't do that, I'm out.
All 3 of them are pretty dumb, but this guy right here is like the superstar imbecile. Every time he says something, it's the dumbest shit. He was the guy that immediately got offended when the girl mentioned the word respectful. It was like a fucking vampire getting hit with sunlight when he heard that. He just started like melting and like in pain. All he cares about is looks and pussy, from what I gather. That's his whole personality. And anything that challenges his belief that looks are the only thing that matter in the world, he takes great offense to. So this video they disabled comments on because they were getting clowned on ruthlessly. And, you know, very un-alpha-like to be a coward and disable your comments. They're keeping the video up, and apparently they had a response to it, which they took down because they also kept getting clowned on with that. Can't confirm because I can't find it. Yeah, his whole point is super goofy. So my wife has kids with me, and then she stops getting hotter, and I don't find her hot anymore, and that's her fault. I give her one chance. If she doesn't fix herself, I'm out. Aging is cringe. So when my wife hits 40, I'm leaving her ass, and I'm going back to dating 18 and 19-year-olds.
I mentally checked out of my last relationship for so long.
But I don't want to say
you broke up.
Yeah.
But
Another point. Close the fucking show. Another point.
No, but
Another
it doesn't
point.
say anything.
Hold
No,
up,
it's
hold
not
up.
like anything bad. But
No,
it's
no,
like
not
after
you. Hold
everything
up,
I've
I'm gonna
been
let you
through.
finish your point. I'm gonna let you finish your point. Guys at home watching, if you're fucking, once you'll know when your girl's mentally checked out, and when she's mentally checked out, she will entertain any dude. I'm not saying you. There's always exceptions to the rule. I'm saying they'll entertain dudes. They'll fucking even cheat on them. They don't give a fuck because once when their mind's gone, the vagina still could be there. But once when the mind's gone, the heart's gone, they are done. There's no coming back from that. So like, you know.
Oh my god. He's absolutely right! Oh! He just blew the case wide open. I fucking love that this dude immediately interrupts her for the millionth time just to make like an absolute nonsense point. The vagina might still be there, but the heart's gone. The soul went to hell, and now she's cheating on you there. Right? And the Avengers music, oh, it just sounds so good. It's like he's making the most profound speech of all time. Like, hey, shut the fuck up real quick, lady. I know I asked you this question, but now I'm talking. Cue the orchestra. Hey, cheating and pussy. What's up with that? I genuinely just can't wrap my head around this whole crew here. I don't even know what he's thinking is going on right now. He thinks he's being so deep and profound and like this is somehow supposed to be inspirational, but it's not. It's not even close to anything at all.
No, I got this right here. Women preserve their value, men create it. Let me explain.
Exactly.
Guys care about a girl's past. A girl cares about a guy's future. Just like if your boyfriend.
I care about your past.
Hold up.
I have no doubt the three of them are pretty close to illiterate, but what that guy's saying right there is verbatim what all of the other YouTubers who are alpha males try and parrot. They all vomit that exact same line into each other's mouths, and just like Ouroboros, just keep eating each other's asses for all eternity. That whole men create value, women preserve it, guys care about a girl's past, girls only care about a guy's future. They treat each other like anime protagonists. It's literally r/I'm 14 and this is deep. This is literally sad Facebook statuses from 2010. It's very clear that this guy in particular was very deep into the whole pickup artist community or whatever, because this shit is the exact verbatim shit that they all said in their seminars. I've watched a lot of those on YouTube nights on stream because they're really fun to laugh at. And to a certain extent, I do feel bad for this guy because he got fed this so much that now he's adopted it as a truth and the cycle just continues.
Hot topic.
Very hot.
Girls cheat more than guys.
Oh fuck yeah! Girls cheat more than motherfucking
I was
dudes.
waiting to say
Period.
that, bro. I was waiting to say
Period.
that.
They're sneaky.
100%. It's my personal mentality because
Yeah.
I'm better than everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not an NFL player. I haven't been to the moon. I'm still better than you.
You gotta. That's how you gotta become. You gotta think you're the best before you are the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody.
That's my personal mentality.
Yeah, he's not an NFL player. He's not a doctor. Hasn't been to the moon. Hasn't had a meaningful relationship. Hasn't been able to read an entire chapter from a Harry Potter book. But you know what? He has a podcast, so he is better than you, pussy. I feel like if I was an employee at the Best Buy they bought the Blue Yetis at, I would be overcome with guilt if I ever found this podcast and recognized them. I'd be like, fuck, I could have stopped this from happening. I could have been the hero if I just didn't sell them the Blue Yetis. It could have all been stopped before it even started.
Honestly, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but what's your take on fitness chicks?
Valid
Like,
as fuck.
They're
they're superior to
top.
all women.
top of the line.
Agreed.
Fitness
Top of
chicks
line.
are superior to any woman.
They posted this themselves as one of their highlights. Like, this is one of their finest moments they were proud of. Just fucking imagine that mentality, that this conversation is like a moment you're like, yep, pretty proud of that one. I mean, to be fair, in their defense, they didn't fumble through sentences because there were no sentences here. It was just like individual words back and forth. Man calls it together like it's a goddamn city council meeting. Boys, gather around. Titties. What do we think? Do we like that? Valid. Milky. Top of the cream of the crop. Yes. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that if I actually did finish all 3 podcasts to completion, there would be a million more wild and wacky moments, but it's just so hard to sit through their podcast, so I haven't done that yet. So these were just some of the highlights that I found. These are the ones that were posted on their own TikTok, and as well as just a couple of moments that I skimmed through their podcast. And yeah, I just wanted to share this because this is just another very silly alpha male podcast. That's about it. So yeah. There are more podcasts on YouTube than there are stars in the night sky. Everyone has been convinced that they're a unique, special little butterfly and that their insight is invaluable. And now that there's so much easy access to recording equipment, everyone gets this insidious little idea planted deep in their noodle that it's time to start a podcast. And my God, I tell you, it's a plague. It's a disease, a virus that's infecting the mind of the most insecure and insufferable people of all time. For some reason, once that AT 2020 touches their hand, they just scream their insecurity from the mountaintop with authority, proudly. And it blows my mind. But I've never seen insecurity projected quite like what I'm about to show you today. So I am still shocked that he hasn't scrubbed this podcast episode from the entire cyberspace, just wiped it from the internet. Like, if this was a clip of mine, I would have paid every penny I have to my name in order to ensure this never sees the light of day again, that this clip stays buried, like the fucking Millennium Puzzle from Yu-Gi-Oh! It is that embarrassing. Like, you couldn't lock me up in Guantanamo Bay and torture this clip out of me, and yet he still has it on his channel. So the podcast is like a bootleg Fresh and Fit, where they just get a bunch of women together and ask them stupid questions and then rate each other's beauty. And then he gets really offended, like visibly upset, and I really thought he was going to start bawling his eyes out, crying in the fetal position. And I've watched a couple of their episodes now because I was curious if this was like an isolated thing. But no, this is pretty common. This is like a staple in their show from what I can tell, where they just have this section where they ask the women that they bring on to rate their beauty, rate the podcast host's beauty.
Listen, ladies, we're rating just off physical appearance, just off beauty, okay? Same standards. Trust me, we're not going to get hurt, okay?
That's the biggest lie ever told since the time Kellogg's tried to convince the world that sugar doesn't make you fat. So, the segment is rate our appearance, basically, which is some actual middle school, literal baby brain man-child behavior shit. That is insecurity at its finest, to have the women you bring on as guests rate your appearance. That's so stupid. I'm surprised they don't also play Spin the Bottle and Truth or Dare. And maybe they do. I've only watched a couple of their episodes, but he says that they're not going to get offended with the ratings. Well, do I have news for you?
All right, cool.
What the fuck?
All right, so now what I want you to do is, ladies, real quick, don't fucking waste my time. Rate the guys. Do me a favor, Josh. Stand up real quick, man. Everybody look at him once, man. He's not going to stand up again, all right? So I want you to rate me, my co-host, and then our fucking producer. Go, from 1 to 10. Just off beauty. Go.
When he does these sections, it really seems like he's some kind of basketball coach who's really upset at the team. Like, he gets very aggressive with all of it. Like, don't waste my fucking time. Listen, we're going to do the drill right now. We're going to do it right. So stand the fuck up, Josh. Look at him. Now spin around, Josh. Okay, good. Drop your pants, Josh. Good. Now rate everything you just saw. Now, don't waste my time. Like, I don't know why he gets, like, so upset even before they hear ratings. Like, he immediately goes into these sections combative. And I watched the whole episode up until this point. Like, he's pretty blunt and like very much so most of the time. But when it gets to this one in particular, he's like angry. Like, even before anything happens, he's already angry.
Speaking to the fucking mic.
I would rate you.
First, you're rating me, and then him, and then him. Go.
I'll rate you a 7.
All right. What is he?
I'll rate you an 8,
All
and
right.
I'll rate Josh an 8 also.
Okay. What about you? Go.
I would rate you a 8.
Okay.
9.
Okay. Come on, he just fucking stood up, bro. Like, come on.
I don't even know what he's getting upset with here. She only took like an extra 2 seconds to take another look at the guy. It's like he just lost a gold split in a speed run to this extra 2-second time loss. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know why he's so on edge. It seems like he just really hates the guests that they bring on. Because when he's talking to his boys, he's like much more jovial and joking and smiley. But the second the conversation shifts to the rest of the class here, like the group of women over there, he turns into like a drill sergeant and starts getting extremely serious and loud. So I don't know why they even bring on women to this podcast when they don't even really want them there. And I also don't know why women keep agreeing to go on shows like these, because half the time it's them just like saying, you're not good looking, and shit like that. Like, right after this rating section of rating the podcast hosts go through and rate all the women. And they literally give them 2s, 3s, and 4s. And make sure that they know that the hosts don't find them attractive. So I don't really get why women keep signing up for this shit just to get insulted by podcast hosts, and they don't say anything or do anything. Like, the women will insult each other sometimes, like, they don't ever push back against the hosts at all, so then they just walk away looking silly from all of it. Like, all of it is just a net loss for the women that go on these shows. I don't know why they keep doing it.
I would say 9.
All right. What about you over there? Go.
2.
Okay.
I would give him a 9.
Okay. What is she over there?
I would give him a 10 because he
Okay.
invited me.
All right. So again, you sound like a stupid ass bitch. I'm trying to
Thank
figure
you.
out why you rated me a 2 because we're not going off our interactions. We're going off beauty.
I don't
right?
like lights.
I don't give a fuck. He's light skinned just like me. And you just gave him a 9. You gave me a 2. You only gave me a 2 because of the whole interaction that we've been having, right? So do me a favor, get the fuck up and get the fuck out.
Thank you.
Yeah, get out.
Spoken like a man whose feelings weren't hurt at all and wasn't offended by the 2 rating. So he tries to justify it with, you only rated me a 2 because we had a disagreement earlier, which I guess they did, but even still, this is an extreme overreaction to getting rated a 2. The insecurity is palpable. You can fucking taste the salt here.
So what the fuck?
Stupid ass bitch. Make sure she gets her bag and phone too. Make sure she doesn't take the wrong fucking phone, dummy. All right, cool. So now, again,
you can actually hear that lump in his throat start to form from all the emotion building up inside of him. Get out of here, stupid bitch. Hey, make sure she grabs the right phone and not someone else's phone, because she's so dumb she probably won't know which one's her phone. Dumb idiot. She's real stupid. You're stupid. I'm a 2. No, you're a 2. Unsurprisingly, this turned their own community against them for the episode. A lot of the chat messages pop up on screen, so you're just seeing things popping up saying like, damn, just because she gave you a 2, what the fuck? Or something like this where it's like, thought you wanted your show to last. Like, come on, man. It's because it's ridiculous. It's very clear temper tantrum over getting a 2. If you were someone that was actually getting pussy, if you were really slamming ham and glazing donuts, you wouldn't care if one girl didn't find you attractive or rejected you. You wouldn't care. You would laugh it off like a normal person. So one girl gives you a 2 and it shatters your whole ego and you publicly melt down about it? That's such a bad and embarrassing look. And he tries to justify it, like I said, by saying, she only gave me that 2 because of our negative interaction from moments ago. Just pure huffing of copium.
we're just going off physical beauty, okay? Not what we've been talking about, not my fucking arguments, not on none of that, okay? I want you to rate me, him, and then him. Go.
Can you stand up for a second?
You didn't see me before the show?
Yeah, but I just forgot.
I mean,
Just stand. It's not that hard. Okay. You're an 8.
God damn it, bro. Go ahead, rate him.
Podcast is now turned into like a hostage situation here. All the women seem on edge, and I actually just can't believe they didn't leave after that. Like, again, I don't understand why women keep signing up for this shit. Like, no one seems to be having any fun there. The hosts especially don't seem to be having any fun. This guy's co-host seems miserable, but he does liven up it a little bit when he gets to rate the other women and gives them like 3s, 4s, and 5s and all that. But it's just so awkward and weird. The only explanation that I can come up with, the only rational way of explaining this, is that the reason women are signing up for this show or shows like it is because they're being paid for their time. So it's like an hourly wage just to go there and be insulted or bouncing stupid questions off of. That's the only thing that almost makes sense. Like, so they just come on here to play a game of grade my friend's appearance for 2.5 hours or whatever. I mean, really, someone summed up the situation really nicely in the comments. They said, podcast is called Unfiltered, yet kicks a girl out for her opinion. And that is just such a nice, concise way of breaking it down and the silliness of all of it. Again, I watched a couple episodes just to try and get like an understanding of the content. There's nothing there. Everyone seems miserable most of the time, or they bounce the dumbest questions around, and they always just do a grade our appearance thing, which, who wants to listen or watch that? Like, I as a viewer, let's say that I was a huge fan of this podcast, why would I want to keep seeing what women say about my podcast hosts? Like, why would I care? There's nothing there. There's no entertainment there, especially when one of them's super insecure about all of it, who's going to freak out if he doesn't get a 9. It just doesn't make any sense to me, so yeah, just wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's it. See ya. This is an embarrassing thing to admit out loud, but I've recently found a great guilty pleasure that I've been consuming like junk food. It's those ridiculously cringe podcasts where a few dudes, pseudo-intellectuals, bring on a bunch of women and have the worst debates of all time. It's a forsaken wasteland where normal thinking goes to die. A thunderdome of delusion. It is brain melting. It reminds me of those old PSAs for the dangers of smoking cigarettes, and they'll like open up someone's chest and be like, this is what your lungs look like when you smoke, and it's like yellow and oozing, covered in this like disgusting slime, and it's very fucking yucky. This is like that, but instead of showing you your lungs on cigarettes, it's your brain when watching this content, and it's fucking revolting. Like, it is actual brain rot, and I can't look away.
And goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20. And then a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive.
From
Would
who?
you, from both.
This is so rare.
Anyone
So
really.
rare.
I mean, it happens.
Go on.
My point is, I'm just, even though it might be rare from what you guys think.
It is.
I already just find this painful. She's asking a very simple question and setting it up, talking about abuse. And already the dudes here are like, this is ridiculous. This is exceptionally rare. This is damn near science fiction. Abuse? Never even heard of it. That's like winning the lottery twice level of astronomical odds. Abuse is, it is very uncommon, very rare. As a way of trying to like kind of shut it down already, like, you're choosing something very fringe and outlandish. Abuse is, it's like a unicorn. It almost doesn't exist. But anyway, crazy lady, go on with your hypothetical abuse thing or whatever you called it. It's just trying to downplay it, which I think is just cringe.
If it would happen, what would you recommend for those people to do? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going. You can't divorce. I mean, that's not a real thing. You can like separate. See, his Catholic background shines through. He knows. You can't divorce. You can separate, but you can't actually divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be like physically abusive.
Because you got to endure. People are too.
You want to stick in the relationship.
People are just.
See, I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just. Everybody quits. Everybody gives up. It's too hard. I'm this XYZ. This is why I'm special, so I can fuck up this entire situation based upon me being special.
The clown puts himself front and center here. You're looking at the chief entertainment for this episode. Fucking discount Walmart brand Sal from Impractical Jokers here. His name's Jonathan, and let me just tell you, he's got some opinions, and man, oh man, are they a stinker. So, the question is very simple. If there's an abusive relationship, an abusive marriage, should the marriage end? You know, if the woman is being abused, or even if the man is being abused. The woman who asked the question, her name is Melina, and she doesn't just make it exclusive to women getting abused. Men can also be victims of abuse, something that Jonathan heavily disagrees with. We'll get to that later on. But he is saying that, if it's an abusive relationship, you have to endure. This is the problem with snowflake society now. Everyone's such a pussy, so they'll ruin a marriage because they think they're so special. You absolute fucking troglodyte. It's not about being special, it's about not getting beat the fuck up in a marriage. There's no excuse for abusing your spouse, whether it's physical or mental. Like, there is a right answer to this question. And the answer is yes, the marriage should end if it's abusive. 100%. Whether it's the woman or the man being abused, it should straight up end. There's no enduring. This isn't one of those situations where it's like, there's greener pastures once you get through a couple of the black eyes and broken bones. My husband may have beat the fuck out of me a couple nights ago, but he also took me to a really fancy steakhouse and I had an absolute bangin' filet. So, all of the abuse was worth it, and I'm a little happier today. It's ridiculous. This is honestly making me concerned. My heart is breaking for whatever woman he's in a relationship with. I'm imagining this guy treating relationships like it's Fight Club. If my partner can't roll with my knuckle sandwiches without crying about it and she wants to leave for it, well then good riddance to her toots. Jesus Christ, special snowflakes can't handle a few of my right hooks. Ridiculous. That's frightening. That is a frightening mentality, that you're telling someone to just endure physical or even mental abuse in a relationship and calling them like a special snowflake or a pussy if they don't. That's crazy. And also his cohort there, the goofball he's in cahoots with, who's like, man, divorce isn't real. Divorce is make-believe. It's hocus pocus. There's no such thing as divorce. Yes, if you're getting abused, you can't divorce, obviously. This is a wild episode.
And the reality is people just haven't learned to endure. There have been hard times in relationship. I'm sure you guys had hard times in relationship. Any relationship has hard times. Okay. And it is what it is. You need to push through and you need to endure because we're in this abused? Hold on. Because we're in this situation now, like where everybody's just creating this like super nuanced, like 1% example of like, well, what if the kid's transgender, black, and abused, and he's a Black Lives Matter supporter? Like, cool. Okay, yeah. I get like that one minute
but I'm asking
situation.
For anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay, endure.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Endure.
I'll tell you what I would do.
A lot of diarrhea fell out of his mouth on this one here, so there's a lot to break down. He had an actual episode of psychosis there. He just started spitting shit that never even came up. It's a very simple question. It really wasn't nuanced. She just said, in an abusive relationship, should the marriage end? It really doesn't get more simple than that. A fucking child could understand the question. There wasn't anything about, like, all these nuance that you bring up. But anyway, Smash Mouth has his meltdown there for a second, but his message is still the same. No matter what, you gotta endure. You gotta endure the abuse. He even has the chutzpah to equate abuse to just a hard time in a relationship, as if it's just some little obstacle, little hiccup that every relationship goes through. Brother, abuse is not a hard time in a relationship. That is a fucking crime. That is when a relationship ends, should end.
I wouldn't want my daughter in that situation, quite frankly. And I understand the argument to endure because I have people close to me who grew up in abusive households and it lasted for periods of time and it was a phase and they endured through it. And they ended up raising healthy, successful families.
Their faces really tell the whole story here. This reaction's pretty on par with that statement. Abuse is not a phase. It shouldn't be a phase. This isn't a normal thing. There's no reason to start normalizing abusive relationships as something every couple needs to go through or will go through. Abuse isn't acceptable. Full stop. Like, that's where... This was a really easy slam dunk for these dudes to answer. Should a marriage end when it gets abusive, whether for the woman or the man? And the answer is easy. It's yes. A relationship isn't something where there should be an abusive phase. If there is an abusive partner, that partner needs to seek legitimate help and get help for controlling whatever violent urges or impulses they have. But that doesn't mean that the other partner needs to stay in the relationship while they're getting that help. Especially not if there's children in the household, because not only is it dangerous for the partner, it's dangerous for the kid to be around as well. I think it's very simple. I don't think it's that nuanced. Abuse just isn't acceptable. Like, that's a super easy thing for a normal person to answer, but we've cultivated this culture online where everything needs to be like a debate, even on the simplest topics. Like, you just saw Smash Mouth have that meltdown, like, oh, you're getting into all this crazy 0.1% example nuance of abuse and then all of these other factors, like, out of nowhere, when that wasn't even what was discussed. It is the easiest black and white question.
to an extent.
So
I mean, they
you
weren't the
would say
healthiest
that
families.
to stick in those relationships that might be abusive to everyone involved and a child if there's a
I'm
child
not
involved?
saying like, hey, stick in the relationship and get the shit beat out of you by a husband.
I'm just asking you what you believe.
I'm just telling you.
Specific thing. Even if it's a small extreme thing, I'm just asking you what you think if you should stick in that relationship or not.
It is such an extreme example that I can't give a prescription for what other people should do. There is an element.
God damn it, it's not even an extreme example. If you just Google it for like 15 seconds, there's so many different studies conducted on the topic, and according to a lot of the different numbers, all of which are a little different, but most of them agree that at least 20% of all marriages are abusive at some point in time. And that's just in reported cases. Like, it's not an extreme example. It's really not. But even if it was, it doesn't even change the question. Like, even in the extreme example here, it's still a very easy answer that, yes, that marriage should end. There is a problem. Now, this guy here is trying to play nice with everybody, so he's like, oh, yes, even this goober over here talking about endure. I mean, there's almost an element of something salvageable of his point. When there's not, like, there's no excuse. Like, you shouldn't be enduring abuse, like, under any circumstance, but he's really trying to give an olive branch over there for some fucking reason. But this guy is at least admitting, like, he wouldn't want his daughter in that. So he does outright say, like, yes, a woman shouldn't be getting the shit beat out of her in a marriage or relationship, and she should leave. He at least will concede that, whereas the other two guys still, for some reason, fight tooth and nail that, nah, there's really no reason to be leaving.
Like that.
Do you have opinions about third trimester abortion?
It's terrible.
Listen, it's
terrible.
Look at how quickly you can debate it. Do you know how rare third trimester abortions are? They're also really rare, but you immediately had a visceral reaction to that, right? There are households where parents are abusive to children. Like, that's not like an unfathomable thing. But for you to have that immediate visceral reaction to a type of abortion that's so incredibly rare. But then when it's
I
like,
mean, we're talking about like a guy like getting drunk and like, you know, beating his wife occasionally versus like.
I actually think that was a really good point from Destiny there. Like, you have a very quick reaction to another extreme example. Why do you not have that same energy when it comes to abusive households? And then the guy starts making some shit up like, we're talking about a guy getting drunk and maybe putting his hands on his wife. Where is that coming from? The question was so simple. They're making up like a whole fanfic plotline in their head about what was asked when it was really super simple. Abusive household. Should the marriage end? Like, I actually wonder if she had even just said something even more simple and broad, what the response would have been. If she had asked, do you guys think abuse is bad? I wonder what they would have said. I wager that they would have been like, okay, we need to define what abuse is because all of these special snowflakes have weird definitions for abuse. So let's start really getting into the nitty-gritty of what is abuse. Even though it's so easy, abuse is just bad. And an abusive relationship is bad. I don't know what's so hard about it. I don't know what's so hard about them just admitting that.
Could there
But
possibly
well,
be
okay, let me ask you guys. In the Catholic Church, I know that there's like annulments for marriages and stuff. Are there
That was a mistake.
Are there no exceptions for like if a guy is beating his wife constantly?
No, there are, but now
Or a woman could as well, right?
Hold on.
Well, there's
Yeah,
also
yes,
a
she could, but-
distinction drawn between.
If a woman's beating a dude, that guy-
Hold on, guys.
Oh man, blubbery ass Jonathan there just got saved big time by the guy in the middle. He wanted so badly to say that if a man's getting beat by his girl, then he's a pussy or he's like a weak bitch or something. He wanted so badly to try and get that kind of bravado out there. Sad to see that this mentality still exists somehow, that men can't be the victims of abuse. I thought we got rid of that stigma years ago. Jonathan's supposed to be a men's self-help guru. How? Actually, how?
Divorces that are initiated by women, Brian?
78.
80%.
78.
80%.
80%. And what percentage of those women have college degrees?
Well, it jumps to 90% if they're college educated.
Real.
Brian, please present the stats to the class. What percentage of divorces are initiated by women? 80%? Thank you, Poindexter, that's sickening. 90% if they're college educated? I rest my case. That's why I only marry 18-year-olds now. They're too young to have a college degree, thus they can't divorce me. What does this have to do with anything? Okay, so you don't want to marry college-educated women? You want to marry dumb women? Like, I don't know. What, you want to just marry a lobotomite sex doll? Cool, like, who cares? It doesn't matter. This has nothing to do with the core question anymore. It's gone fully off the rails and unhinged. They're so focused on picking apart divorce itself. So now they're spouting these stats and making each other mad. So one of the dudes is like, real. And then the other guy is taking a huge deep breath. Why, I oughta. Just hearing that number's making me mad enough to put hands on my spouse because she might have considered a divorce at some point. Like, it's ridiculous. This has nothing to do with what was asked.
They
Can
are
I ask-
extreme.
can I
I
ask
agree. I
another-
agree with that.
I want to ask
but-
like one more scenario, okay?
Please. Oh,
What about if
I was giggling so fucking hard because you can hear, I'm pretty sure it's Jonathan go, oh, Jesus. When she says she wants to ask another scenario. Why are you even here? The whole point is to communicate with the women, your guests, right? To ask them stupid questions and shit. Like, if you're so bothered with them talking, what the fuck are you even doing there?
two people get married, they have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
They should divorce then?
Jesus himself
You don't
said.
think it wasn't
Jesus,
illegal?
hold on. Jesus
And you
himself
could like
said.
work things through, right?
Jesus himself said in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
No, for the children?
Or cheating, sorry. You think that cheating is worse than physical abuse?
For the
Sorry.
children, yes.
I actually let out a full belly laugh. So she brings up cheating and unanimously like, yes, obviously you have to divorce when the woman's being a whore. If you've got a slut for a wife, you gotta fucking divorce that harlot, that harpy. Duh. Are you stupid, lady? Absolutely, you have to divorce there. After they spent like 6 minutes about, well, actually, divorce is one of the most evil things that can ever happen. Divorce is unacceptable. Physical abuse, okay, abuse, you have to endure because you can't divorce. But then when it's cheating, it's like, yeah, you gotta divorce. Jonathan even says crucifixion is warranted. I'm sure he's just being exaggeratory, but he does point blank say that cheating is worse than abuse for the kids, which is a wild take. Both are awful. Your father beating your mother or your mother beating your father in front of your kid is just as damaging as one of them being unfaithful. These are both horrible things, both of which should end in divorce. But for some reason, they seem to only have a real visceral response when it comes to cheating. And then the guy in the middle even gets immediately religious, like, well, in the Bible it says, you know, when cheating's on the table, that's when divorce is absolutely necessary. Well, what the fuck? The Bible also doesn't preach for beating the fuck out of your spouse either. I'm sure you can also divorce in a case like that, so why didn't we get biblical when abuse was brought up? Why did we start trying to justify different levels of abuse and it might be a phase where it's going to get better after and this and that? Dude even wove a whole fanfic about like, we're talking about a man who gets drunk and maybe occasionally hits his wife. Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you making excuses for abuse and not for cheating all of a sudden, right? Like, and Melina even calls that out. She's like, oh, well, what about, like, working through it or, you know, maybe the cheating's a phase. And like, no, absolutely not. Cheating is the end-all, be-all. This is just crazy. Like, I was absolutely howling with laughter when we got to this segment in the podcast.
I think I'm not going to say this is worse.
Divorce
I mean,
is worse for the children.
I already
Cheating
said
worse
that
than
if a
Cheating,
woman's
yeah.
getting abused, yeah, I think she should leave. Like,
No.
I mean, if it's a brief temporary thing, like
What if it's mental abuse?
Okay, now
Do you think
less
if
cut and
it's-
dry.
if it's
You are
cheating and
setting
mental
your
abuse?
child up.
I think there's a small chance that Jonathan may have misunderstood the question. He may have thought he heard, is divorce worse than abuse? And that's what he was saying, that divorce is worse than abuse for the kids. Which is still a fucking stupid take, so I'm gonna tackle that one as well. What the fuck, man? You think that somehow kids witnessing their parents beating the shit out of each other is somehow less damaging than if they had just gotten divorced? You've got some issues you need to work through, my goodness. And then also that lady that's behind them is saying that it's less cut and dry when it comes to mental abuse. Why? Abuse is abuse. What are you talking about? So far up until this point in the episode, she hasn't said too much. She mainly just kind of agrees with everything the guys say. But she says it's less cut and dry when it comes to mental abuse, which leads me to believe that she thinks it should be cut and dry when it comes to divorce for physical abuse. But she didn't say anything. She didn't chime up and say like, hey, I agree, the marriage should end then. She just stayed silent because I guess she was just looking for things to fight them on as opposed to agree with, which I think is always such a weird component of these debates where if you agree with your opponent, you're apparently losing, or you lose points by doing so, which is so fucking backwards. And that's why I think debates in general are kind of worthless, because it's never about changing someone's mind. It's always about just cementing your own beliefs and never faltering and never changing perspective on anything. So nothing good ever really comes from it, except for just general entertainment as a spectator. And this one had me giggling, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's it. See ya. I actually cannot believe the podcast that I just watched. Who remembers Ned from the Try Guys, huh? Any Ned enthusiasts? Ned Fulmer, yeah, Fulmer family, Ned Fulmer guys, where we at, huh? Well, I'm sure you recall in 2022, there was the huge scandal that went public about how he'd actually been cheating on his wife for quite a while with their producer at the Try Guys. It was a huge deal, of course, led to the dissolving of their marriage. It basically kicked Ned off of the public sphere, and he has remained in the back rooms for the last 3 years. He has just crawled his way out of the Shadow Realm and surfaced with a podcast called Rock Bottom with Ned Fulmer. His first guest, his ex-wife, so he could talk directly to her about all of the cheating. It's like podcast therapy or some shit. And it actually makes me think podcasting should straight up be illegal or have like some kind of like rigorous vetting protocol in place where you need like a license to own podcasting equipment. This is fucking agonizing. It takes so much to make me turn something off that I've committed to watching. I will stomach any amount of like revolting dog shit this planet has to offer. I could watch Two Girls, One Cup 100 times back to back to back to back to back to back to back without even blinking. But this was too agonizing. I had to turn it off after 30 minutes. It is brutal to sit through. I can only imagine what she was feeling with this, because he kind of like talks about himself as if he's like some kind of a victim, like a survivor of his own cheating scandal. It's weird. You have to see this.
Strange to think that people are watching this and listening to it rather than just being in like a therapy setting.
Oh heck yeah. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm on the verge of like standing up and walking out of this room. Absolutely.
Understandable. And no one on the planet would blame her if she did. I think that is a totally reasonable response. It is still so baffling to me that this even got made in the first place, to be honest. Now, Ned did give like a pre-game speech here, but I just wanted to show you that he did actually sit down with his ex-wife and have an hour-long discussion with her about him cheating and him like prodding her, poking her like, and how did you feel about that? Yeah? Wasn't good, was it? Thought not. It's so fucking weird.
Hi, I'm Ned Fulmer. 3 years ago, I cheated on my wife with my producer. It became a massive public scandal that caused a lot of pain to a lot of people. I know that I represented myself as a kind of wife guy who talked about his relationship and put that out there for public consumption.
Big wife guy. Ned Fulmer used to be synonymous with wife guy, I think. I don't know. I was never the biggest consumer of Try Guys content, but from what I understand, that was like a core part of his identity, like his whole personality revolving around like being the wife guy. So of course that made everything even worse for him, even though it was already extremely bad. Now, this has been pointed out by a lot of people, and I don't know if this is how he's always been, if he's just this kind of quirky, zany guy who likes vocal fry, but a lot of people mentioned, and it's very clear, he is putting on like an extra dollop of vocal fry. It is brutal to listen to. It sounds like out of a cartoon when a character is mocking somebody else. Yeah, I may have presented myself as a wife guy. It's so like nails on a chalkboard.
And you, as a viewer, I know that I broke your trust. One step is to publicly witness the pain of my partner, Ariel. This is a conversation with Ariel in this video. It's painful at times. It's honest, vulnerable, brutal.
But why? Why do you want to broadcast you publicly witnessing the pain you have caused your ex-wife? Why wouldn't this just be a conversation had with like a professional or just between you two behind closed doors? Why do we need to be invited into this? This is him just making like a public spectacle and trying to like get back into the internet zone. So he drags his ex-wife in here to try and like reopen the wounds here publicly so that way he can paint it as him like taking the accountability, this public flogging that he's going to give himself, listening to all the pain and suffering he's caused her. And the whole podcast is him kind of like prodding, like, and how did my cheating make you feel? Did it make you feel bad? Yeah, I bet it. Yeah. No, I know it made you feel bad. Yeah. No, it sounds about right. It made you feel bad, right? All while he's filming it to try and milk this devastating event that she's gone through for his own personal views and his own attempt at a comeback. That's how it seems. The catchphrase, I believe, for his podcast, which you can find on his About section, sometimes the only way out is through one podcast at a time. That is the slimiest shit. Oh my god.
As disappointed as we were that something so private and painful became such a public spectacle, I get why people were so outraged, and I understand that that is the reason that she can't move forward with any sort of public thing without addressing this. So this is that.
I'm going to have to call Dirty Barnacles on that right there. I don't buy that reasoning at all. He is literally launching a podcast off the back of his ex-wife being the first guest in it. And he's trying to paint it like he's doing this so that way she can move on because all this went public and, you know, it's taken such a huge toll and she wouldn't be able to do public things because this will get brought up from the past. So this is how we're both going to heal and move forward. Like, I completely understand that for her in particular, her having any other like public facing job or something, this would be brought up. I get that. And that is very difficult, no doubt. But this does not seem like Ned Fulmer just trying to do something to help her not have to deal with something like that.
I feel like this is a necessary thing.
Yeah, we've kind of been just keeping our lives very private for the last 3 years.
We have.
Just almost hiding from the world.
We've been hiding. We've been hiding from the world. And I'm not going to lie, it's been kind of great.
Now, I felt I needed to include this section in here because she is saying that she believes it was also somewhat necessary to publicly discuss this finally after so long, but that the time they spent away she's felt is kind of great. But since this was a public thing, it seems like she agrees that there needed to be some kind of like public resolution to it to move on. Now, I'm going to go against the grain a little bit here. I don't think it's necessary. You do not owe strangers online an explanation to how private matters were handled. Yes, this did happen in the public eye with the scandal, you know, blowing up and the cup runneth over on Ned's unfaithfulness, but that doesn't mean that you need to do anything further publicly just for the internet to bear witness to. But if you do feel like there is like some kind of obligation to have some kind of like public, you know, closure to it, is this really the best way to do it? Because to me, it really feels like Ned is using this as a self-serving thing. This is the kickoff to his podcast, and this is obviously something he knew would get a lot of views. To me, it feels more like a calculated business call as opposed to something to try and help both of them like heal and move forward.
Myself to strangers. It's like, oh, let's exchange Instagrams. I'm like, well,
right?
Here's mine, but couple of caveats. One, I have a lot more followers than you might expect. Two, all of this is pretty outdated. And three, don't Google me.
Don't Google me.
Don't Google me.
You
Just
probably don't want to Google me.
Get to know me first. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You don't want to be just sort of seen as the sum of your mistakes for me or the sum of your past for you.
I cut a lot of this section out here, but Ariel mentioned how like making friends has been a little weird because of all of this, because they'll come into it with some kind of like preconception based on what they've seen from the public and such. And Ned immediately is like, well, actually, me too. I'm going through something similar. I'll try and make a friend, introduce myself, and they like ask for my Instagram. I'm like, whoa, bump the brakes, buddy. Instagram, I don't know about that. Whatever you do, don't Google Ned Fulmer. Definitely don't do that. You know, you don't want to be viewed with some of your mistakes, or I guess in your case, Ariel, the sum of the past. Am I right? Yeah, we're kind of like two peas in a pod when it comes to this problem we're both experiencing. And he's like trying to like meet her in the middle there, like relate to her. But Ariel did nothing wrong. Ariel is completely a victim in all of this who is now sharing like how it has affected her, even like socially making friends. And Ned's like, oh, me too. I'm super victimized by it as well. Like, they Google Ned Fulmer, they see I fucking cheated on my wife, and they don't want to be my friend. It's so weird, right? Like, you and I were going through like the same thing on this. Am I right? Like, this is what I'm talking about, where I feel like Ned's not actually trying to like help, move forward here. It really feels like this is just his springboard for the podcast.
We are still friends. We have children together. We go on trips together.
Right.
Like, there's a spectrum of being together, not together.
Right.
Like, there's ways in which we're together, but it's like the way that everyone wants to know, like, are you guys still like an item? Are you guys still a couple? Like, no. We really haven't been at all this last 3 years.
No, we haven't.
So I've been saying ex-wife this whole time, but now that I'm rewatching this section, that's not the case. Apparently they are still technically married, but they are separated. They are not like dating, they're not a couple anymore, but they're not divorced either. And I think that might have been covered later in the podcast, but like I said, I could not stomach this whole thing. It's actual misery. It is literally like this miasma of like sadness. So I didn't finish the episode where that might have been addressed, but this whole time I've been saying ex-wife. But that, I guess, is not the case. What is for sure, though, is that they are not together, and she has not forgiven Ned for what he's done.
People ask me, like, do you forgive Ned for what he did? And, I mean, the answer is no. Absolutely not. How can you forgive somebody for lying to you, for cheating on you? No. Fuck no. Like, I don't even, sorry, I saw red for a minute. It's like, no, the answer is no.
Yeah, that checks out. You should not forgive somebody that has done what Ned Fulmer has done to you. Absolutely not. And I'm really happy to see her just come down with the iron fist like, fuck no. Absolutely not. And Ned just sits there, hitting one of these.
It's hard to hear you saying like, fuck no, I don't forgive you. But of course I get it. I mean, you're still, as much progress as we've had, you're still very angry.
Yeah, of course I'm angry. We're talking about like,
this is where I started getting like a little wiggle worm-esque, where I was like kind of squirming in my seat a little bit, because now it's getting much more into the meat and potatoes of like the cheating itself, which Ned is spearheading the conversation of. So he's like, yeah, it hurts to hear you don't forgive me, but I get it. We made a lot of progress, but you're still angry. And it's like, yeah, man, of course she's still going to be angry, but why are you using that as a piece of content for your podcast launch? And you can see how difficult this topic is for her. She then goes into detail about how everything unfolded for her, where she got this news from fans and she was being sent pictures, and she starts going through like what that was like for her emotionally. And it's really, really sad. And then immediately following that, this is Ned's question.
How did having it become such a public scandal kind of change everything for you? Did it make it worse? Did it make it easier? Did it just sort of make it surreal?
It was so many different things.
His questions suck shit through a crazy straw. These questions are fucking terrible, man. Brother, what? Did it going public, I was cheating on you for a long time and then everyone found out. They were the ones that told you, by the way, not me. Did that make it like easier for you think? Just explain that to me a little bit, if you don't mind, about how public how public it was. What was that like being in the middle of that, if you don't mind? And then his next question, I think, is his worst one.
What was that moment like when everything changed for you?
Awful, obviously.
What was that moment like, huh? Hey, excuse me, if you don't mind, can you walk me through exactly what it felt like when you found out that your husband, whom you have children with, has actually been cheating on you for a very long time? Can you please describe in detail what you felt when you learned that information about me? I'd love to know, if you don't mind. If that isn't the most brain-dead fucking question I've ever heard, Ned, it probably didn't feel good. What does asking this question even do to help either of you, heal from this? Please, walk me through the trauma when you learn that your husband, have been cheating on you for quite a long time. This is something, again, like I said, that should have been, with a therapist, not a microphone. Microphones do not do that job. And I'm assuming over the last 3 years, and based on the conversation, they have talked, in detail with each other and with others about this. Why bring it up for the sake of cameras to capture it for your podcast? That's why I'm saying this feels like it is all truly self-serving for Ned to try and regain some kind of audience online.
I think there was a lot of sort of delusions and rationalizations that you, as the person doing that, sort of are telling yourself as to why it's not so bad, or why it's going to be okay, or why actually this talked about in this way. And then it's I remember that moment, it all just kind of fell down where
This one I'm going to take a little pause break for a little halftime show moment here, because he's about to get into the most painful part, and this is when I turned it off. And what I want to make a mention of here is, for some reason, Ned is the one at the helm here. He's in the driver's seat and is basically, and this is something I saw August the Duck point out as well, he is mainly talking about moments as opposed to talking about how much he himself fucked up. He is entirely to blame for this, yet he is the one that gets to steer the conversation and talk kind of broadly about it and focus on this moment. What did you feel in that moment? As opposed to letting her talk about it and letting her kind of dictate where the conversation goes and the questions and that kind of thing. It is so odd, and it does feel unfair that Ned is the one that is spearheading all of it. It doesn't make sense, given that he is the one, the cheater, that did all of this, and yet he gets to be the one in control of this conversation here that supposedly he's doing to try and help her, move forward in a public-facing environment.
Totally could see how devastated and just completely traumatized you were, and then it was just everything changed for me as well. I'm oh no, this is I've been hurting this person that I love this whole time.
You didn't realize until then?
Well, but then there's other things you tell yourself to kind of sort of compartmentalize, or I guess.
Interesting.
Oh, wow. Like I said, it is a tough watch. And like I said, Ned really does feel like he talks about these excuses and how he's compartmentalizing and lying to himself, deluding himself, that kind of thing. It almost feels like he's giving himself these little weaselly ways in which that, he calls it a scandal, whereas she says directly, your affair is another thing. He talks about it as a scandal, as opposed to how badly he himself fucked up making this decision consciously. And now he's talking about it was never realized, with all the ways I was lying to myself, that I was actually hurting the person that I love. And she calls that out, saying you didn't realize that? You didn't realize at any point that, maybe what you were doing would be really hurtful and really devastating? He's no, I just with the way you compartmentalize and,
It's brutal. It is absolutely brutal to sit through.
It's sort of a, it's like a addictive cycle, kind of feeling really guilty and ashamed, and then telling yourself the ways in which it's, kind of just lying to yourself, and then, yeah.
That sigh said 1,000 things without even needing words. Ned, what the fuck? He's just bumbling. Like he is actually spitting mumbo jumbo. He's saying nothing. Literally nothing.
Of like, well, what did you do to make him look elsewhere? Were you not a good enough wife? Were you not... Did you not make him happy enough? And there's so much shame there. And I'm so tired of holding that. I'm so tired of holding it.
Unfortunately, this is a very real thing that she's describing right here, where there are people that when they hear about a husband cheating on their wife, their first response is, well, what did the wife do to make the husband do that? Must have been her fault. What, this harlot? What? She must have done something wrong. Must have been some kind of harpy over there. No, surely it was the wife's fault that Ned Fulmer would go elsewhere to find a suitable woman worthy of his benevolent being. And she's talking about how much that has weighed on her. And she then directly asks him, how does it make you feel hearing this? That you did this to me. You have basically, put this hex on me in some people's eyes that will not go away.
How does it make you feel to hear that?
I don't think it's fair that as a society you're put in that position. It's certainly not true. And no, it's not something that I imagined as I was doing that. I think none of it was. If you really let it sink in just how much you're hurting your partner and how devastating it is, how could you do that? It's still very difficult now, even 3 years later, to see you in pain as you're talking about that. And I guess there's nothing I can do to change the past or to help.
This right here sums up the Ned attitude for this. This is a very manipulative answer, in my opinion. She is giving a very real account of something that she now has had put upon her because of Ned. Even outside of the devastation to the marriage, there are people that will look at her a certain way because of what he has done. And she is now saying, how do you feel about that? Is that something you've considered? And Ned, instead of even addressing yes, I did this to you, I recognize I did this to you, he instead says, I feel really bad that unfortunately society does this. Ned, you did this to her. Yes, it is sad that society will do that. But whether or not you want to acknowledge it doesn't change the reality that it does happen, and it is something she has to live with now as a result of your actions. He softly tiptoes around it, instead focusing more on the problem that society has with this perception that they'll put on people. I'm so sorry you're going through that, honey. What a shame. This is what I'm saying. He kind of cushions his cheating. For instance, he mainly refers to it as a scandal. Ariel's not afraid to say your affair and what you did, but when Ned's talking about it, it's oh, I was lying to myself, with this scandal, this scandalous stuff, that kind of thing. He really likes that nomenclature. It just feels like he is very much trying to soften it a bit. So I just don't buy from his side that this was supposed to try and help Ariel in some way. I don't get that feeling from him. And far be it from me to question how Ariel wants to move forward from all of this. If she does feel this is the best way of doing it, then I would then ask, why did Ned take over most of the conversation? Maybe it changes towards the end of the podcast, I'm not really sure, but for the 38-ish minutes or whatever that I watched before just tapping out, it was all Ned that would lead these talks and control it. He would just try and poke a, like, how did you feel when I cheated? So that way she would talk about how awful it was, and he'd just sit there nodding his head. But it was always him taking the discussion where he wanted it to go. And every step of the way, I really got the feeling that Ned was playing just how awful what he did was. This was an awful thing to sit through. Like, it truly was fucking brutal. And I just had to share a little of this with you. That's really about it. See ya. There's a crazy phenomenon with the internet, with this wacky cyberspace, where the smallest interaction ever can change someone's life. Like, I'm talking about a single sentence sometimes leading to an entire career and changing the trajectory of someone's destiny. I think the best example of this is Danielle Bregoli. She had a viral segment on Dr. Phil back in like 2015, and it ended up with her saying, "Cash me outside," and people memed it. Those memes became extremely popular. Thus, Danielle Bregoli became extremely popular. And now, fast forward to today, she has a multi-million-dollar career that all started because of that meme. One sentence. It's just so interesting how something as small as that can lead to an entire career. But it's not a guarantee. This isn't like a formula everyone can follow. Even if you succeed at becoming a meme, you might not necessarily get like a long-lasting career from it. You might just get 15 minutes of fame. This formula shits more often than it hits. Another great example of that is there was a viral meme a couple years back with the "You're Breathtaking" guy, where at a video game conference, Keanu Reeves was on stage, the word breathtaking got used, and then someone in the audience shouted, "You're breathtaking." Using advanced DARPA technology and the CIA's latest and greatest, people were able to identify the gamer. And the gamer tried to use this to his advantage to make a career out of it, so he started making content, and this became his entire branding as the "You're Breathtaking" guy. It was like his whole fucking catchphrase, like he was like Tony the Tiger with Frosted Flakes. It became a core part of his identity. He would just spam the word breathtaking, saying things like "stay breathtaking" and all of that. And unlike in Danielle Bregoli's case, people abandoned him. It didn't stick with him. People didn't continue to support it. He tried to ride that wave, but unfortunately the surfboard slipped out from under him and he just ate shit in the rip current. He did not blow up like Danielle Bregoli did, despite doing pretty similar things in terms of trying to ride the meme. So it doesn't always work, but when it does, I find it to be extremely interesting. Right now we're witnessing someone else attempt a similar thing, where they've become a meme and now they have gone fucking elbow deep into that butthole here, putting all their eggs in that basket to try and ride that meme to a long-lasting multi-million-dollar career from it. I'm talking about the Hawk Tua girl.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that Hawk Tua and spit on that thing. You get me?
I don't get you. I think you gotta demonstrate.
Hawk Tua and spit
No,
on
like-
it. Spit on it.
I'm sure most of you watching this have seen this clip. Right now, the Hawk Tua girl is more popular than Jesus Christ. More people know her name than their own parents' name at this point. She has blown up because of that clip right there. And really, it's an entertaining clip. I see why it became popular. I get it. You know, who doesn't want to giggle at someone saying, "Hawk Tua, spit on penis," you know, laughing at, like, you know, sloppy wiener spit, whatever. I get it. Like, it's not like I'm an old man shaking my fist on the lawn trying to figure out why shit's popular. I get it here. But this became so popular that it actually boggles my noodle a little bit. It blew up in such a way that I haven't really seen before, where almost immediately she was invited to like a Zach Bryan concert where she was on stage. She then started getting invites to every podcast that's ever been made. I imagine it was probably like that scene out of Harry Potter when the owls just kept shooting new letters through the fucking front of the door with podcast invites for the Hawk Tua girl. So now she's been going on like the world tour of podcasts. She even mentioned on one of the podcasts that she's already quit her job.
I've been dropped out of school for like a year or two.
Okay, so this was like
But I don't quit my job. I said peace.
So now is like you're gonna go to LA, you're gonna go to New York.
Oh yeah.
Do you think you see yourself like starting your own type of like show or podcast, or are you just gonna be like an internet personality?
I think we're gonna do like a show, and then we're just gonna be like on a bunch of podcasts and everything else in between.
Cool. So kind of just figuring out as you go.
Oh yeah, there's more to come. Don't worry. There's more to come.
She has the whole team. It's so crazy. It happened. The internet is insane. Your life changed overnight.
It really did.
Yeah,
for sure.
She quit that job so fast. It feels like the second her meme hit 1 million views, she just turned in her 2 weeks notice and said, "Fuck it, I'm out. I'm a meme now. I'm better than this. You're beneath me." And she just walked right out the doors. And it's not that I don't respect the hustle here. Like, I get it. Like, in life, you're only given so many opportunities to try and make, like, the dream career happen for you. And this is definitely a gateway. Like, it certainly could be. But man, she is fucking speedrunning the entire online content creator roadmap here. The only thing she's missing right now is making a dog shit rap song, which I do think is probably only a month or so away. You'll notice that in that interview, she said we instead of just referring to herself alone. And that's because she's already got a team behind her. This isn't some kind of Gollum and Schmeagol situation where she's referring to herself as we. She already has people around her working on making a whole career out of this. That is just so fascinating to me that all of a sudden, overnight, with a single sentence, she is now already going down this path in life to try and make it work. And it might work, it might not, maybe it fumbles, maybe it flops, maybe it pops. There's no real way to know for sure. But I do want to pop a finger in my butt and pretend to be Nostradamus here for a second. I'm going to make a prediction. She's going to release a rap song in the next month. It's going to have Hawk Tua as like a hook. I don't know what it's going to be called. Maybe the fucking Hawk Tua Electric Slide Part 3. Like, I have no clue. But I am confident that she is going to make a song in the next month. Mark my fucking words. Put it down. Etch it on the tablets right now. I'm going to look like a prophet here, even though I feel like most people are probably predicting the same thing. Because she's right now going through that stage where every creator does, where they start doing podcasts, they start talking about making shows. I don't know what kind of show she's going to try and make out of just that one single sentence. Like, that seems like a really hard thing to turn into a show. I'm very curious to see what that's about, but she's already getting the full content creator experience because she's already found herself in 2 controversies. So the first one was actually with politics. So on that podcast, she got asked a question about who she would spit on the dick for, like who she would Hawk Tua on, basically. And one of the people that she was asked if she would basically suck the cock of was Donald Trump. And this is what she said.
I have a game that I want to play with you guys.
What is that? Makes me nervous.
It's not that scary, I promise. It's called Hawk Tua or Nah. And you tell me if you want to Hawk Tua on that thing or no. Okay. I think you might. Are you into like older guys?
For sure.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Fuck, my phone's not loading. Donald Trump.
No, absolutely not.
No.
It's a no from me.
Okay, it's a no.
In a shock to absolutely no one, this created a bit of a shitstorm for the Hawk Tua girl because they viewed it as very disrespectful to Donald Trump. So because she said that she wouldn't gargle his fucking meat, they thought that this was like an unforgivable sin. There were tweets going on about how disappointed they were that the Hawk Tua girl turned out to be a wokey and shit like that. There are other tweets that splice this up a little more nefariously, where they cut off the part about it being about blowjobs and basically saying Donald Trump, and then it cut to her saying no. So it cut out all of the context, which then deceived people even further, where they're like, "Oh, okay, what the fuck is that? Wait, okay, this is disgusting." They thought they had us. They really thought we were gonna fall for the Hawk Tua girl, but we knew this whole time this was all a play from the skibbity Biden camp to fucking brainwash us and fool us all. We knew we couldn't trust the Hawk Tua girl, which then led to her second controversy, where a lot of people are claiming she's an industry plant because she got so big so quick, and that clip, that little section there, got taken in so many different ways that they think that this is some kind of political push, and that's what her whole motive is behind being as big as she is now. It's all artificial to promote Donald Trump's opponent, Mr. Biden. Mr. Biden. But you know what I mean. To promote Joseph over there. And so basically, they're now accusing her of being an industry plant. Now, industry plants are a real thing. That's not a conspiracy. There are actual industry plants in a lot of different places. That is a legitimate thing. In her case, I personally don't think so. This really seems like a classic internet case of latching onto something really silly, and the person that was
responsible for making the silly thing happen, is trying to capitalize off of that 15 minutes of fame and trying to make something from it. So she's doing, and her team is doing everything they can to keep her in like the mainstream consciousness, because in the current climate of the cyberspace, it is a complete uphill battle to stay on the tip of people's tongues, because everything changes so quickly. People don't even remember what was talked about 3 hours ago. Everything moves like at breakneck pace. It's cutthroat. So they know that. She knows that. So she's going on podcasts, going on stage, really trying to keep the Haktua alive, just putting fire, more wood on the fire to keep it burning. I don't think she's an industry plant. I really think this is just a classic case of someone trying to ride that meme and make a career out of it. But anyway, what I really wanted to focus on today is just how interesting this is, because memes come and go. Meme life cycle nowadays is only like a few hours, but sometimes you have a rare example like Haktua here, where it does last a little bit longer. And in cases like that, the person behind it really does try and strive to make a career out of it, because it is such a good opportunity to do so. I would say most of the time it doesn't work, but sometimes it does. And when it does, it is a life-changing experience. Like for her, it already is life-changing. She quit her job. It seems like she's got a lot of money on the table for some of these appearances. If they're making a show, if she's getting paid to make the show, it seems like already her whole life has changed almost overnight. And this meme's only like a week or so old, if that. So yeah, anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because I really do just find it super interesting. That's about it. So yeah. Haktua Girl. I imagine a lot of you just rolled your eyes at that. It is a meme that, for a lot of people, is beyond stale. It's been run into the ground because over the last couple months, it's been everywhere. Haktua Girl has, like, her name has been said more than Bloody Mary's name. It's like Beetlejuice, but when you say Haktua 3 times, you'll get a new flood of 10 different videos from her in your feed. It is just everywhere and has been for a couple months. And it's made a lot of people just pretty exhausted with it. They're tired of it. And I made a video talking about her when the meme first blew up, going over how interesting I find it that a meme can change someone's life pretty much overnight. Something as simple as talking about spitting a loogie on a wiener can lead to a whole career potentially. And I never really blamed her for trying. I also did find it really weird how quickly she was speedrunning the influencer route. Within like 3 days, she had like a whole PR team. She surrounded herself with like a bunch of parasites that were suckling all the clout out of her like these fucking vile leeches. Like she was immediately talking about starting podcasts, starting her own like I think it was like a TV series or something. So she was going to launch the Haktua cinematic universe to compete with the MCU from the sound of it. She was going on podcasts. She was getting paid like $30,000 to appear at clubs. It was insanity. And now the trailer dropped for that podcast, which comes out in a couple days, and people have been clowning on her for it. She's getting dunked on harder than I do when I play pickup basketball.
She's literally doing anything to stay relevant.
Does anyone actually give a fuck about her?
Why are we keeping this girl relevant?
Your 15 minutes are up.
Your joke was funny for 2 days. Stop.
Y'all really thought I was done? I'm just getting started, baby.
It just feels so corporate and soulless. It just feels really inauthentic and artificial. That was what a lot of people said early on to the Haktua timeline, that she was some kind of plant, because she did have like an entire government think tank assigned to her right away to try and like keep her name out there and keep people saying Haktua, spit on that thang as much as possible. So it felt really forced. And zoinks, Scoob, this trailer feels more forced than this smile. It's called Talktua. It's not an awful name, like it's kind of silly, but it also just continues to reinforce the meme itself, which makes people even more annoyed with it if they're already tired of it, you know what I mean? Like, this just really feels like how Vought would handle a meme in the boys universe.
It smells warm. F*** you.
Yeah!
What's one move in bed that makes a girl go crazy? I'm Haley Welch. A little while ago, my life took a complete left turn and it changed forever. And along the way, I've realized that everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Well, now it's my time to talk. Check out my podcast every week, Talk to Them, where I'm sitting down with the coolest guests and having actual conversations with them. And Pookie.
Who is Pookie? Who is Pookie?
He may stop by too.
New exercise every week. Subscribe to that thing.
I love that selling point of having actual conversations with the guests.
Look, I'm not a chef in the kitchen, but I can speculate on the menu. They're going to be serving up nothing burgers with those conversations. Just a hunch. I get the impression that this is all driven by a firm. So what I'm imagining is all the guests are going to have like pre-approved questions that are okayed by the department that's going to be like really sterile, really safe, and hyper vigilant of being like viral potential clips. So like her smelling a shoe or flipping that question about what's a move in bed that makes a girl go crazy. Like that all feels really, really fake. Yet, one of the big selling points is its actual conversations. We'll see, it drops in like 2 days. I could be totally wrong. But even still, it's not like every other podcast isn't having real conversations. Like this isn't going to be the only real one, you know what I mean? It just ticks every single box that some kind of marketing firm would have you do for your sizzler reel and marketing material. Pookie might stop by. Hooey! It could be anyone. Who the fuck is Pookie? You'll have to stop in next week for this Talk to a season finale to find out. It could be goddamn Steve Jobs being brought back from the dead. Maybe he never actually died. Maybe Hawk Tua's spit acts as some kind of necromancy, and she's the damn saliva sorceress, and she revived him. Who knows? You know, it all just feels so forced. But I do still stand by my statement that I can't even really be mad at her for doing all of this. I really can't. Getting as lucky as she did with a meme blowing up and people like going and flocking to you, like that doesn't happen often. And that can be the dream job for most people on the planet, and she's trying to capitalize off it. I don't think this is the best way of doing it. I really think being more human as opposed to just being the meme itself and spreading that out. I gave this example before, but maybe many of you don't remember the tragedy of You're Breathtaking Guy. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you, but I've mentioned it before. Quite a few years back, Keanu Reeves was at an event and he was talking about how the game looked breathtaking, and someone in the crowd shouted, "You're breathtaking," at Keanu Reeves, to which he said it back to that gentleman. And that guy came forward, everyone cheered him on, he became an overnight sensation, and for, I think it was like almost a full year, he rode that puppy as much as he could. He was milking those titties dry. He tried to use You're Breathtaking as his branding. He called himself the Breathtaking Guy, if I remember correctly. And people got really tired of it really quickly. And that same thing seems to be happening to the Hawk Tuah girl to a lesser degree, though, because she does still have a lot of people that are really excited about this. So it is working to a certain extent, but I just really think the best path is to just separate from the meme a little bit. Like, hey, you know, this was my lightning rod. I know you guys know me as the Hawk Tuah girl, but, you know, I'm just kind of hanging out here. I started a podcast if you want to check it out, and just have it be more organic. Hey, I'm playing the One Piece card game tonight on stream if you guys want to stop in and tune in, as opposed to just like wrapping everything around the meme, because it just feels so inorganic. It really does feel like an industry plant situation to a certain extent. But yeah, anyway, just want to talk about it a little bit because I do find it very interesting. That's it. See ya. I love podcasts now. I just watched one of the most emotional and most important episodes of a podcast I've ever seen, and we've got to go over this together. I hope you're ready to get in touch with your emotions, because this one, you're going to need a box of tissues nearby for.
What's one thing that you love as a man in the bedroom that you think is kind of falling off today, that you think more men should be into, more guys should be doing?
Oral sex. Eating pussy.
Amen. Our champion has arrived. Shout it louder for those in the back row.
But not just the act of it.
Yeah.
The entire performance you should literally treat eating fucking labia, pons, clitoris, every piece, even inner thigh, as this like orchestral event.
I agree, man. I don't.
Ah, yes, just like the great artists that came before us, you must treat eating pussy like Mozart treated his symphonies. You're the conductor, and that flesh in front of you is your instruments. So slam her thighs together like they're cymbals and fucking tongue punch that pussy like it's the percussions. An orchestral performance is amazing. So I watched this whole episode, and this guy tries his best to be some kind of emotionally deep and profound intellectual throughout it. So as he's talking about eating pussy, it almost sounds like an ASPCA commercial where he's making it like so heart-wrenching, like it's weighing on him heavily, like taxing his psyche, thinking about all of the pussy gone uneaten. So he's like, I half expected him to be pitching a tent there with the way he was getting into it. Like I felt like he was starting to get hard.
Girls tell me that they'll say, yeah, my ex would go down on me, but be no more than 15 seconds until he would just come up and then start inserting into me. It's like, okay, well, you're not going to get anything done in 15 seconds. I'm sorry. I don't care how good you are. You're not.
Yeah.
Things take time, especially when you're working with such a beautifully intricately designed, like, I love it.
Oh yeah, you can see the butterflies get in his tummy as he gets the joy of talking so passionately about something he clearly loves so much. Vagina. Oh yeah, he's getting like the chills going over it. It feels like he's just pretending. It's so over the top, it just feels forced and fake. It honestly just seems like he's making an audition tape to find a girlfriend in the comment section on TikTok. It reminds me of like when people around you are talking about something that you don't really know about, but you don't want to feel excluded and be looked at like a weirdo, so you just kind of pretend like, oh yeah, Severance, of course I've seen it. I love it. I can't get enough of it. Stop me if I'm just, blabbering on, but I could go on and on for hours about this show. Like, the writing is watertight, and the cinematography is some of the best I've ever seen. Like, and that episode you're talking about, I was stunned. I was actually stunned. Meanwhile, I haven't started Severance yet.
Before the podcast started, I was ready with that question because Garrett was looking in the mirror over there and he was going, you know what I miss? I miss eating pussy. And I was like, save it for the podcast.
I do.
So that's why he got so into it.
Like, I could feel my eyes dilate saying that too, because...
Slow down, Robert Frost. What do you mean you can feel your eyes dilate? He's trying to be poetic and shit, but it just comes across so silly. Brother, you have a problem. Before going on a podcast, he just stops and looks in the mirror to cry about how much he misses eating pussy. I think of all my maidens out there, the miladies that aren't having their box eaten by me, and I can't help but cry thinking about it. But they're not tears of sadness. They're tears of pity. I feel bad for all these women that don't sit on my face.
Peter knows I've been celibate for way too long now. I'm doing good.
Thank God, I was worried you weren't being strong about this. It sounds like you're doing really well, breaking down in front of a mirror, lamenting that you're not having a buffet of pussy. It sounds like you're hanging on there by a thread.
But I looked in the mirror over there for a second, and I was not doing good. Because I saw my eyes. And right when I saw my eyes, all I saw was just the act of... I see it again.
Yeah.
But the act of eating pussy.
Oh my God, it's so sad. It really is. Like, he's being a real trooper here. He's being so brave about it. Like, this is up there with, Vietnam flashbacks. You can see the PTSD. So he just catches a glimpse of his eyes in the mirror, and then the world stands still. And all he can think about, all he can picture in his head playing over and over like a movie on repeat, is the pussy he once ate, but does no longer. What a cursed existence. Damn this forsaken world!
Moving on. Have you ever been with a girl that has an IUD?
Yes.
I've spoken about this before. And and my little brother was like, can you feel it? And I was like, absolutely, I felt it. All the comments were hating on me. You can't feel it. You can't reach in there. And I was like, you can. You can. So then I did a little more research because I know I felt something. And apparently it's the string that's hanging down you could feel.
Yes.
So I wanted to elaborate that. You can feel an IUD. It's just the string that's kind of hanging down a little bit low.
As he was going through this exhilarating tale, I thought it was going in such a different direction where, So the comments were clowning on me for my IUD take, so I did a little more research, and turns out they were right. I wasn't feeling the IUD. Instead, what I felt, I realized, was Garrett's penis coming in through her butt, and our tips touched in the middle. Like, I thought that's where it was going with the way Garrett was reacting to it. That's the man really in touch with pussy eating and, like, his emotional chakras. That's Garrett.
But it hurts. It feels like a hard metal you're hitting. It's not very comfortable.
I find it pleasing in some shape or form. Only because it's
Wait,
just
an IUD you find pleasing?
well, not pleasing, but it's a nice little surprise at the end. You know.
At the end? What the fuck are you talking about?
We're about 30 minutes deep into the podcast here, and now even the host, Peter, is starting to get, like, a little concerned and on edge. Like, Garrett, what the fuck? Like, he just outright calls him out on it. Because this has been his aura the entire show, where it just feels like he is trying to cater every single response to trying to make women go, ah. And he's just saying things that are just weird. So he'll just be, like, flicking the water bottle top. Sat on a banana. Changed my life forever. I find serenity in having G-spot manipulations conducted by unlicensed chiropractors. Did you know that? It's because it allows me to find more peace within myself. Because I found, through walking this path of celibacy, a path not many would dare walk, but me being Garrett, the bravest man on this planet, I walk it while thinking of pussy day and night. And while the rain crashes upon my glowing skin, I think to myself, what's next? Where do we go from here? Where do we come from? What happens after we die? And these thoughts wash over me like a toilet bowl flushing a morning shit. And that's when I realize I miss pussy. I miss it so much because I just love it so much. The intricate design. Oh, it's divine. Yeah, it is. There I go. Thinking about pussy again. It's just such a beautiful thing. Yeah. IUDs. No, you're right, Peter. You can feel them, and it's just such a special surprise inside the cereal box, you know what I mean? Oh, yeah, I use my spoon, penis, and I go in there and I'm scooping out the IUD. I'm scooping it out. It's just so good. It's just so good. It's so good.
Wait,
For another day.
do you know what an IUD is? Or are you just saying shit?
I'm just saying shit. Yeah.
Wait, do you not know what an IUD is? There's no way you just went along with this conversation.
No, I know. No, I do know what it is.
What is it?
It's a fucking contraceptive that's up inside.
Okay, so why'd you just say it's a surprise at the end?
The end of the tunnel. Like, everything's going great, and then you just get a surprise. Just for being there.
Okay.
Garrett, you're overheating right now. Tell those neurons to slow down because they are cooking too much. Like, you're not looking like a desirable mate. Like, your wife isn't in the comment section right now leaving her phone number. Right now, you're looking like a fool.
You wouldn't, I think I've asked you this, would you ever not sleep with a girl if she was on her period?
Ever not sleep with
Yeah,
her?
like, would you not sleep with a girl just because she's on her period? Like, would you be like, ah,
No,
well,
I would
wait.
never react like that.
How would you react?
I'd be excited about the situation, actually.
Pretty normal response. Oh, you're on your period? Yeah! It's go time! I love that he's like almost offended, like, no! I would absolutely not react with disgust. In fact, I would be elated. Like, I am at my most jubilant when she is on her period. I see that, and I can't stop smiling. It's the most special thing in the world, actually.
I've always been excited.
Why would you be excited?
Because I feel that specifically a woman's like perineal blood coming from
Perineal, dude, what?
from that area.
Is that a word?
Yeah, perineal is just the area right here.
Okay.
For all of us. So the blood coming from the cervix.
Yeah.
I truthfully believe that it has some divinity to it. I believe that it has healing components to it.
I agree with that.
And not only
Science also agrees with that. You remember the whole fountain of youth thing? Well, they found it inside some pussy. You see, the blood coming from the cervix, as Garrett is describing here, it is not only has divinity, it legitimately can act as a panacea, curing pretty much anything under the sun. You need only be an alpha in touch with his emotions like Garrett. Like, you need to be excited by the sight of it, and you should be, because it's a magic elixir, that blood. Now, as someone that doesn't have periods, I can only speculate on how great that must be, and how lucky you are to have such a powerful divinity pouring out from your orifices. And it's a drink fit for a king like Garrett.
is it a belief? It's just something that I love to entertain and be a part of. I feel like there's such a connective thing that you get to share.
I think that's how you create a soul tie.
It could be, and
it most definitely is a soul tie. I never stopped to think about it, but now it seems so obvious. Absolutely, it's a soul tie. Period fucking, it takes two souls and does this. And then they digivolve into one soul that's tied now.
If it doesn't create a soul tie, it sure as hell creates a wonderful experience sexually.
If I can't get my sword a little bloody, I'm not a good knight.
Dope. Words well spoken, bro. That was profound. If I can't get my sword a little bloody, not a good night. Honestly, I think that's the most beautiful conclusion to such an emotionally charged episode of this podcast. I fucking loved that. Wow. Garrett, thanks so much for your service to vagina everywhere. You're a real gift. Like, I don't know what he's doing right now. Maybe he's sitting in a dimly lit room writing haikus, going over how much of a blessing it is to be able to even exist in a world that has pussy in it. And you know what? That thought brings me solace. That's about it. See ya.